So today I'm sharing about sacred scriptures in the Bible, and my encouragement is to read God's book. The Bible is God's inspired word, truly His word. What He does is He uses human instruments to communicate His perfect message in spiritual truth. He didn't just write the Bible from heaven and throw it down to us, but He used human beings, flawed, sinful humans just like you, just like me, to communicate His perfect message to us all. And this is what we have in the Bible. St. Jerome says that ignorance of Scripture is ignorance of Christ. Get to know Jesus Christ, read God's inspired word. St. Thomas Aquinas says the New Testament fulfills the Old Testament, and we can see the New Testament revealed or concealed within the Old Testament, meaning that, Jesus' story and prophecies about Christ and so much of what the New Testament teaches is concealed and even hidden within the Old if we look closely enough. I know for me, reading the Bible growing up, I took a lot of the storybooks out of it and took that type of approach, like David and Goliath, Daniel in the lion's den, Jonah, Noah, Moses, these great stories, Joshua, Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, and these wonderful stories, and they were just fun, and they were entertaining, and they had a message, and there was Veggie Tales and these great interpretations of these wonderful stories that resonated with me. But then even as I got older, I was like, man, some of these stories aren't as kid-friendly as I thought, as I read through the scripture, getting older and maturing in my faith a bit more, and then going on to kind of just reading through the Bible, just reading it all and trying to check it off the list. All right, I read that book, get stumbled up in Numbers or Leviticus or Deuteronomy and some of the Old Testament, but let's get back to the New because that's a little more entertaining. And that was my approach later on. And then as I matured more, I would take more inspiration from the Bible and take out some great inspirational quotes and hang them on my wall and write them down and use them to motivate and inspire and encourage me to live the Christian life more fully. And another approach I would take is play some Bible roulette and open the scripture randomly to a verse and let it speak to me, and then seeking out the Bible for answers, and then using the Bible to interpret different morals and beliefs and values, and understanding the best life to lead. So what I find most helpful is praying before reading scripture and using scripture as a prayer guide and letting the words speak to my heart and communicating to God in that regard, whereas God is speaking to me through His word and I'm listening and I'm seeing what He wants to say to me through His inspired word. And even though I've read certain passages dozens of times, they're still communicating a different message each time I read them, and it's very powerful in using scripture to pray with. So we're so blessed today to have access to this amazing resource, to God's inspired word, a love letter from God to us. Let's use it. Let's read it. Read the Bible. It would be very embarrassing if we went up to heaven and we told God that, I read Twilight and Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings and these great videos and blogs and all these great things, but you know what, God, I just didn't have time for your book. We don't want that to happen. So read God's book, let it guide your life, get to know Jesus Christ through God's inspired word, and be a saint, be a beast for Christ. God bless you.